Hey, Sheeples. This is
Hello,
the.
hello, hello, sheeples. This is the
It is
guy
not
with no
Z.
name. This is not Z.
I was like, let's be binary, bitches.
uh,
Uh, we're,
honestly, I
we're
think.
recording after a while. It's
Oh yeah,
been
yeah, yeah. It's been a
ever
week.
since we switched to the whole once a week episodes. So we were very aspirational. Ki, हाँ हाँ अपन तो हर 3 दिन we'll record and then
Uh,
we'll have a nice content library and we're on Saturday and we're like shit. We don't have content to put out. Let's create it.
but honestly, like I think this has been a really funny week for us.
Yeah,
We had planned to record this episode for I don't know what. Like last we've been thinking about it since last Saturday since we removed
yeah,
the
correct,
previous one.
correct.
And we were like, yeah, we'll record. Then in the middle there was the whole storm tension
Yeah,
problem.
for those who are not from India, we apart from going through COVID like the rest of the world is, there was also supposed to be like a huge cyclone alert
Yeah,
for a specific city we are in, which is Bombay.
Mumbai. Yeah,
Yeah, no wait, Mumbai is a city, Bombay is a feeling. Like,
yeah, Bombay is the feeling for sure.
but please don't beat us up, okay? If you're from politics,
Yeah,
we'll call it Mumbai for you, no problem.
अरे that's a
मैं
weird
बेंड
thought to
ओवर
have.
करूंगा मुंबई अरे बॉम्बे कौन बोला बॉम्बे कौन बोला हाँ कौन बोला
but
बॉम्बे
but yeah, honestly, like I think because of that one thing, Z
मजाक कर रहा
sad.
हूँ मारना मत ना प्लीज
Z sadly had his electricity kind of
oh yeah
like
like
completely
a
like got what wasn't there at home
dude an
for
entire
what how
like
many 2 days 3 days
the,
what
the
was it.
so like usually the wind speeds are supposed to be around 30 20 to 30 kilometers per hour. I mean this particular day it was about 120 kilometers and like an
Hmm.
entire like an old tree just fell and it crashed into like the electricity room and it damaged a
Oof.
lot of stuff and it was raining crazy and it didn't have anybody to come repair it so the entire building was out of power for
Yeah.
like a whole and anyways it doesn't matter since my Wi-Fi is is pretty moody. So power,
Ye-
their power, no power, it has a
yeah.
mind of its own.
So the Wi-Fi finally
Yeah,
by
finally, man.
some like I don't know miracle was
The
back today.
internet gods were
Yeah,
listening.
the internet gods were listening,
मैं
and
नंगे पाँव चल के गया घर.
luckily on the day we are supposed to remove this
Yeah,
episode,
this
which is
this is bizarre. This is
Saturday, 6th
I,
June Saturday.
I know.
It's actually back and we can finally record it. So you know
Yeah,
what? This is a very last minute thing, but we are really happy that we can do it.
well,
So
but of course, none of y'all are going to find this out because it comes out on time, right? all of this
although
anxiety happens in the background. So like
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
listeners are
this
like,
was
क्या हो ये लोग ये time पे तो आते episode like what
very
the
very very apt for our episode. The anxiety of not being able to remove the episode only got us.
fuck? Yes, I mean,
But
as you figured
yeah,
from the title, we're trying to like put the spotlight on a topic that's been sulking in the shadows for far too long. I mean, both of us have had our personal experiences, yes, and I'm sure the person right now who's listening to this has also gone through anxiety at some
yeah,
point. Whether you've actively identified it as anxiety or not, it doesn't matter. But that there are a lot of experts who go on to say that anxiety is more frequent than we think and we figured that mental health has been the backbone. It's been like it was the first episode,
yeah.
right? We
I mean,
began with.
that's what got us going, right? Like the
Yeah,
question of what are we doing and why are we like stuck in this rut in a way was what got
correct,
us to start this podcast. And
correct.
I think we wanna kind of keep this conversation about mental health going
Hmm.
because even though like we do have a lot of fun like with our episodes and all that stuff, and we wanna also do serious things, kind of like helping the society in some ways, maybe help doing some other kinds of maybe things that will help someone who's listening, right? And whether it be through mental health or I don't know whether it be through some topics that we talk about like storytelling and all those kind of things. It's just like some things that we feel we need to talk about or can help someone in general,
Yeah,
and
true.
it
And then
works out.
if
Yeah.
this is your first time listening to the Sheeples, I'm going to say something that we say very frequently that Sheeples was envisioned to be a virtual safe space
Hmm.
for people out there probably not had the best childhoods, or probably aren't having the best adulthoods. You might have had scars that you've identified or you've not. But deep down, there is this dissatisfaction amongst each of us. And conventional media or conventional platforms don't really help out when you go to Facebook or an Instagram. At least I'm a lot more concerned about how everyone's lives are better than mine, because that's how conventional media works. It's about highlighting the best moments of someone's life, and then you're sitting in your underwear eating ice cream, and you're like, like,
you know,
seriously.
speaking about like eating things, one really weird combination that I had today, that I
Wow, okay,
wouldn't have, and I don't know why I'm going on this tangent. It's just something in my head right now.
okay.
Is I had coffee and also a mango alongside the coffee, which I don't know why I did that, but
Mm.
it just like it was nice. It
Was
wasn't
it like
bad.
contrasting? Was it like the mango was cold and the coffee was
Yeah,
hot?
yeah, yeah, yeah. It was
Oh my God.
it was like the bitter but sweet coffee with like a little bit of cold mango that has like that sweet
Hmm.
tangy flavor to
You're
it.
going all
And
gourmet on this right now. You're like, yeah, dishes,
I'm trying to be bougie here.
bourgeois, bourgeois.
Bourgeois. No, but
Um,
honestly, like
that is a
it just
crazy
felt so nice
combination.
just having that. But anyway, getting back to our topic.
Yeah. So
Um,
again, if
yeah.
if you're listening this to the podcast or to the episode for the first time, remember that Sheeples is a safe space where the entire community comes in, tunes into the podcast once a week. We aspire to create like a nice fireside chat, like a nice sleepover that you can have with friends that you can be honest with. It's just supposed to be like a very comforting space, a comfort spot where you can just shed inhibitions and
Mhm.
just be. That's what we're trying to achieve, and
Yeah.
and therefore mental health is a very natural fit in here, and
Yeah.
uh, and that's why we're talking about anxiety today, because we feel it's like this looming specter. It's like the silhouette that exists in everybody's life, but
Mhm.
for some reason we don't really talk about it. I mean, we're all talking about COVID right now, and it's the pandemic in the spotlight, and I'm sure many of y'all have the habit of switching on the news, or looking at statistics every 6 hours, every 3 hours,
Yeah.
refreshing your Twitter feeds.
It's
So
been like
that's
everywhere.
visible. Yeah, you're right. It's everywhere. That's the visible
Yeah.
pandemic, but anxiety is the hidden pandemic. And as
Yeah.
both of us, say repeatedly, anxiety and depression are going to be bigger killers than anything else. But the worst
They
part is,
have been. They already have been. Like the sad part of it all is like this has been a part of our lives, or rather lives of the sheeples in general, for so
yeah,
long, and people like don't realize what's happening or why they are like under such duress or like they aren't feeling right, and these feelings can cause more problems than people realize. And
true.
like as much as this COVID is a big pandemic here, these kind of hidden, unknown pandemics, or rather unidentified pandemics, if you want to call them that, are are those things that like genuinely have been spread and been a very big thing for a very, very, very long time, and somehow have still been under the radar till today, which is crazy to think about. But yeah, I guess maybe the first thing we should talk about in all of this is what is anxiety. Like we've mentioned it so many times already. It's said
Yeah.
it's a hidden pandemic, but do you like truly know what anxiety is? And maybe you sheepers might be able to relate with it.
Yeah.
But like the simplest way,
Yeah, it's a word we use so colloquially, right? But
yeah,
like deep down, I don't think many of us know what it actually means. We have a personal meaning attached to it. Like, when we say, "Oh my God, I'm so stressed
mhm,
out." I mean, you definitely don't want to be clinically stressed out, because
yeah.
But then we all have our personal anecdotes. What about you, man? Like, what is? Wait, what was your name for this episode?
Just yeah, we didn't have like a name for myself
Really?
for this episode,
What
right?
irresponsible
Uh,
people!
so just to mention like here, for the newer sheepers here, usually like I don't I usually go by a different name every episode.
We're trying
Um,
to and all that.
we usually decide upon a name like in the beginning of the episode, but we just kind of forgot today.
Because you're
So
new, we're doing this for you.
yeah,
It's
so today maybe I can have my name
you
be
want to be a dementor, or is that too big?
Dementor. Dementor could be. I mean, I guess that's not a
And if,
bad
if you're a Potterhead, you know the reference.
one. But
I mean,
other
not
than the
not the
Dementor, I was just gonna be like the Anxious Bean.
ooh, anxious
Who
bean.
it just like I mean
Nice.
it's not as subtle, but it feels about right. I feel
No
like
man, go for it, go for it.
I'm
You're
that bean,
the
Mr. Bean.
you're that anxious. Hello, Teddy.
Uh,
All right, you're the anxious bean man.
but
Okay,
because Dementor can have a lot more, so I was just saying like
sure.
maybe
All right,
what.
okay.
Anyway,
Anxious
but
bean. Why don't you tell us what anxiety means to you? Like, how would
okay.
you explain
So
it to a 5-year-old?
one way I can the easiest way I can kind of explain anxiety to anyone is have you ever had that feeling in the pit of your stomach, that just like sinking feeling that you have, that kind of dread that there's something that's about to happen or something that is coming up, whether it be the smallest thing of like just a social gathering that you have to go to, whether it be a party or whether it be a presentation where you need to speak. It can be any kind of task, and it's just that feeling of dread that you get before it's going to happen. And that's, to me, that's usually for me, or that worry that I always have, where that worry could cause me to not focus on the task that I'm doing at present, and it just makes me think about what's going to happen or what's happening again and again and again, and it kind of takes over my brain. And at times, like for people, it can cause them to go blank. It can cause them to have a panic, kind of a panic attack in a way, because they aren't able to completely be comfortable with the idea of what's happening or what's going to happen, because it always, and this is something I read, like for some people it feels like they feel like the world is watching them and waiting for them to trip up so that they can laugh at them. And it's just that feeling of having that idea of like being not in that comfortable zone, being watched constantly, or having that feeling of you're going to mess up, and people are going to find laugh at you, and you're not going to be happy about it, is something that really gets to a lot of people. And it's just that worry, that constant state of worry, that can cause you a lot of harm, a lot of stress, can cause you physical ailments at times, which is one of the craziest things, because you don't realize that it's anxiety. Like there's a word for what you're feeling, and that's anxiety.
Yeah,
Um,
like deja vu, right? Not
yeah,
not like how I was older than I'm proud to admit when I discovered what deja vu is. Similarly, it happened to me with anxiety as well. I mean, at least for me
yeah,
personally, I'd like to state at the onset, and I'm not proud of this admission, but I was one of those people who thought that things like depression and anxiety and nervous breakdowns were I'll say it in Hindi, they were Amiro ki bimari, or
mm,
in English, they were illnesses of the affluent, of the rich people who can afford to sort of say that, hey, I'm feeling bogged down today and I can't do my thing. So I was one of those person, and as somebody who was again, I don't like to identify with the words extroverted or introverted, but for the sake of clarity, as somebody who was a little more bent toward being an extrovert, people for somebody who was very confident of speaking amongst large gatherings, who was never afraid to like take charge and take initiative
right.
of talking when there's like a silent pause. To me, things like anxiety seemed very strange, unless I had my mathematics paper. Then it was real. But I wrote that off because I knew I was a dumb kid. Like IQ
Right.
pretty low, certified medical issues, but shit like that. So
I accepted your statement that you were a dumb kid so easily. I didn't even
yeah,
question it.
yeah, hey, like इसको नहीं
uh,
आता है. I wouldn't doubt that.
no,
So
no, no.
for
Truth
me,
to
things
say,
like anxiety seem to be pretense, seem to be things that people pretended to have,
yeah.
and Oh gosh, I was wrong. And it was only till about 2 years ago, at 25, that I realized that anxiety is real, depression is real, mental illness is a real, and it was a real shocker for me because I started dwelling on how as a society we approach it. Like even if you're a 6-year-old kid, okay, and you fall down and say injure your knee and it's bleeding, you know that got to go wash it with water, put a band-aid.
Yeah, yeah.
Like even a 6-year-old knows that, but you absolutely have no clue what to do even as a 60-year-old if you have the equivalent of a physical cut but mental now.